just record. Yeah, lovely. Okay. So if you can mute yourselves, that'll be fantastic. And so anyway, so today we are covering all the um, Kendra, that is the angular house lords in different houses, as well as the trine lords. Now, I would encourage you after this class to take a lot of material, because I'm using predominantly Parashara, Brihat Parashara, Ohra Shastra's dictums, and they are absolutely hardy, tried and tested for thousands of years. So you cannot go wrong with them. But what it will do is it will flavor. You can bring it down. It can be a kind of it'll some of it will be watered down and things like that individually. It's a skill to be able to weave all the things together, and again, I keep repeating, one thing does not make up a story. Okay, you will have to figure out how things work, and everything is colored by what whether you have planets in there and things like that. Okay, so let's begin with the Lagna Lord, that is the Lord of the Ascendant. Now, if the Lord of the Ascendant be in Lagna itself, that is, it's in the same, it's on the Ascendant, the native will be endowed with physical happiness and prowess. He will be intelligent, fickle minded, will have two wives, and will unite with other females. Now, um, this is a very specific dictum, that people who have Lagna Lord in Lagna, they will have two wives. Now, that or two husbands, whichever is applicable. Now, that does not mean that, you know, well, I think you may want to try it out. I've got Keanu Reeves' chart here. Here he's Leo Lagna, and his sun is in Lagna. Okay, that's very, very. Everybody knows Keanu Reeves, right? Hello.
Yes.
Yes, we all know Keanu Reeves. So, um, the Matrix, I mean, I'm the biggest fan of his film, The Matrix, and yeah, and Speed. So now Lagna Lord in Lagna, the sun is very, very, very strong, right? And he did have one, I think, long term. I think he was engaged to one of the sort of young directors or kind of musicians.
Yes.
She
Yes.
died. Yeah, she died. I think they lost a pregnancy and she died in a car crash. So yeah, so I'm sure he has had, or he probably will, but he's kind of keeps everything under wraps. But this is a very strong chart. Lagna Lord in Lagna is a it's on, you have the blessings of the Tattva Devta, that is the because it's in the same it's in the same tattva, right? Same element. So you have those blessings. These people are extremely intelligent, and they will have, those blessings coming from that particular. So he has the blessings of fire, the Agni Tattva, because sun is in Leo, very, very strong sun. Absolutely, it's in its own Mul Trikona. So super strong. So yes, so like I said, it plays out. You will have to see a lot of charts to figure all this out. Okay, um, to figure out this dictum. But this is all the dictums of various lords in whatever houses. Parashara is very specific. Okay, so don't get think like, oh yeah, it's something to be taken lightly. No, but what will transpire is that as you go along, you need to almost remember, or it will come through experience, and try finding as many examples of things like, oh, he is fourth lord in so and so, how did that work out? So I think there is no alternative to doing good research. The more you see charts, the better it gets. Now, if Lagna Lord is in the second, he will be gainful, scholarly, happy, endowed with good qualities, be religious, honorable, and will have many wives. Now, again, this is a like a really strong, I mean, Parashara talks very, very well about Lagna Lord in the first, Lagna Lord in Lagna Lord in second. He will be religious. Now, why would that be? um, Maybe because from the ninth house, if you count the houses, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the second house is the becomes the sixth house. So in a way, you are almost always fearful, of it. And so again, if you count from the Lagna Lord, like if it's from the second house, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that means uh, the sixth house, the seventh house becomes the sixth house from the Lagna Lord. Now, wherever the Lagna Lord goes, okay, now please note, this is really important. Wherever the Lagna Lord goes, okay, you are going to sixth from there is going to be, you're going to kind of destroy that house. Okay, that means you're going to kind of I don't want to use the word destroy, but what I'm saying is anything negative of that house, wherever your Lagna Lord is, count six houses from there it will create problems. The Lagna Lord, it will be on like a war mission. Hey, I'm going to kind of get rid of all the negativity of this house, so it will get rid of all of that. So if in the second house, that Lagna Lord goes in the second house, that means the sixth house is basically the seventh house. Seventh house is often where we create, we are kind of lusty, and in terms of like, we want more and more. Seven, it's also the one of the Maraka houses. Remember, we did Maraka. So the seventh house is also a Maraka. So all the negative stuff of the seventh house, he's going to get rid of. And so consequently, he will then, all the good qualities are left. He will be honorable and will have many wives. So, of course, he'll have many wives, because it is like the seventh house, there's nothing to stop him. He can do as he pleases. So, in a way, the Lagna Lord in the second is um, is it will sort of destroy some of the significations or negativity of the seventh house, and that's why the Lagna Lord in the second is very welcome. Of course, it depends on what planet it is, which we will do another time, because it will color the planet. If you have, let's say, moon in the second house, Cancer Lagna and moon in the second, is fantastic. But let's say it is Aquarius Lagna and you have Saturn in Pisces, that's not so good at all, because Saturn is a Krura as well as a malefic, so that's not a very nice placement. Even though you will get the some benefits of this, but yet it's going to be overshadowed by all the Saturn is fundamentally in the second house, not a good placement. So be little bit careful about figuring out what kind of Lagna Lord it is, whether it's a malefic, inherently malefic, the Lagna Lord, or is it inherently benefic. Okay, now next, if Lagna Lord is in the third house, the native will be equal to a lion in valor, be endowed with all kinds of wealth, be honorable, will have two wives, be intelligent and happy. I think he seems to have a lot of wives in the first three houses. um, but yeah, so here we have chart of Greta Garbo. Okay, here it is, can everybody see the chart? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes.
here it is Taurus Lagna, and the Lord of Taurus is Venus, and that's gone in the third house. Now, bear in mind one another yoga that I'm going to keep talking about some of the positive yogas that come about. If the Lagna Lord goes to the third house, the sixth house, is the Dhimanta Yoga. Dhimanta Yoga is nothing but a high intelligence, okay? Very, very high intelligence. So Greta Garbo, of course, was an iconic actress, absolutely phenomenal. And of course, if the Lagna Lord goes in the third house, not only because why lion? Because you see, the third house is also the, remember what we did. The third house is parikrama. It's the house of bravery. It's not just a house of sibling, it's a house of how inherently brave we are, whether we have the guts to go ahead, where how enterprising we are, how our mind works, that is what the third house is about. We did that. And so if it is the third, Lagna Lord goes in the third, then the native is going to be very courageous, very, very valorous, and he'll be endowed with all kinds of wealth. There's no doubt about that. Because why wealth? Because it is the third house is the second house, which is about wealth, to the second house. So hence it's kind of will sustain the second house, and of wealth from the Lagna. So hence that is a very strong house. Okay, so Lagna Lord in the third house is a very good placement to have. Everybody okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
So if I forgot to remove these charts. Anyway, if Lagna Lord is in the fourth house, the native will be endowed with paternal and maternal happiness, will have many brothers, be lustful, virtuous, and charming. Okay, right. Why many brothers? And because again, from the third house, any house which is second from any house is where you will have, like, it'll sustain itself, it'll be abundant, there'll be a sense of abundance, because it's the second house is like storage, like lots of it. So that for the sustaining the third house, the fourth house is important. So hence many brothers, because the third house also signifies many, is a significator of siblings, right? So hence if the Lagna Lord goes in the fourth house, that means there will be a lot of, and of course it's the house of the mother. And so house of the mother, so there's an inherent sense of happiness coming thereof. So this is a very nice placement to have, especially if it is moon or Venus as the Lagna Lord, and it has come into the fourth house. That is absolutely beautiful. As we saw last time, that moon and Venus is in Digbal, it's in planetary strength in the fourth house. So hence, if you have Lagna Lord, if is moon or Venus, then it's a very, very nice placement. Okay. Then, if the Lagna Lord is in the fifth house, the native will have mediocre progenic happiness, will lose his first child, be honorable, given to anger, and be dear to king. So we'll see examples with that. So again, Lagna Lord in the fifth house is superb. He'll have mediocre progenic happiness. That means there'll always be some conflict with children, something or the other, and it'll be limited. You'll always worry about your children. Will lose his first child. I would want to test it out. Be honorable. Of course, it's a honorable fifth house, and it is the ninth from the ninth. So, of course, there's a sense of honor in that. Given to anger. Why would it be given to anger? Because there is a, it's from the sixth house, it is the 12th house. So there is this sense of anger, and because the sixth house is all about the shadripu and all about your negative habits. So there's many, many no. So in this way, you can keep seeing from Bhavat Bhavam, each of why he's talking about, all these problems here. Yeah. It's good and bad. Now, if the Lagna Lord is in the sixth house and related to a malefic, the native will be devoid of physical happiness and will be troubled by enemies. if there is no benefic aspect. Now, the Lagna Lord in the 6th and the 12th have similar sort of, um, you know, the kind of meaning. When the Lagna Lord goes in the 6th house, he will be troubled, devoid of physical happiness. Well, of course, because the 6th house is a difficult house. It's the house of conflict, the 6th house. Wherever the Lagna Lord is, there will be trouble. Okay. But more so because it's the 6th house, because he'll be troubled by all the enemies. The 6th house is, remember I said the 6th house is the house of enemies, so there'll be loads of enemies you will encounter. And in fact, anyone with Lagna Lord in the 6th house, of course it's a Dhimanta Yoga, because there's a sense of intelligence. It's the house of Mercury, remember, no doubt about that. But it the 6th house, you cannot be happy in the 6th house unless there is some battle to be done, there's some kind of firefighting, there's some kind of conflicts to be resolved. Okay, so that's why the Lagna Lord in the 6th house, these people are forever looking for some kind of mountain to kind of overcome, or some kind of conflict to overcome. And if everything is peaceful, these people will actually create conflict. So this is a very important placement. And especially so, and he'll be troubled by enemies. Of course he'll be troubled by enemies, because it's a very karmic position, Lagna Lord in the 6th. And there is, especially if there is no benefic aspect. Okay, so remember what I said, that he will be devoid of physical happiness. Why? you know I mean, there will also be problems with, he'll be forever worrying about his career, his this, all of that. He will be worried about. And why physical happiness? Because you see, it is the 6th, 8th house from the 11th. So there's going to be a lot of problems. 8th houses like transformations and things like that. So he can never really rest. Either he's troubled by his enemies, or he's troubled by some of the advice or some of the karmic stuff stemming from the 11th house. So either way, he's forever troubled. Or if he's not, even if there is a moment of respite, then he'll go look for some kind of some kind of thing to overcome, some kind of problems that it can be overcome. So again, bear in mind, but there needs to be no benefic aspect. Only then this will hold true. But if there is a benefic aspect to it, then maybe he will definitely be able to overcome his enemies and things like that. Now, if the Lagna Lord is a malefic, and is placed in the 7th house, the native's wife will not live long. Why would that be? Can somebody tell me? Hello?
Because of an aspect.
Yeah, but also because remember we did that the 7th house is a
House
Maraka.
is a Maraka. Is a Maraka, yes.
Yes. So, so it will be, so the wife is not going to be able to live long. Okay. And um, if the planet in question is a benefic, then one will wander aimlessly. The basically what that means is, in order to avoid that, the trick to this is you should go and live abroad. All the people who have Lagna Lord in let's say in the 7th house, anybody with Lagna Lord in the 7th house? Anyone? Because if they live abroad, it will be very, very positive for them. Everything will open up, their life will be much, much better. Because remember, the 7th house is the house of long distance travel as well. So hence, having the Lagna Lord in the 7th house is very, very positive. Alternatively, he will become a king. He will wander aimlessly, face penury, and be dejected. Or, I mean, this is one option. Or he will alternately become a king. As in, if the planet is strong, if it is a sort of like in its own sign, or there is a parivartana, or or it's high in its strength, so he will I mean the person will become a king. But I think it is subject to living abroad. So this is a very strong dictum if the Lagna Lord in the seventh house, okay? These people should go and live abroad. That will be very positive for them. Then we come to Lagna Lord in eighth house. The native will be an accomplished scholar and be sickly, thievish. Hi guys. Hi, who's that? Hello. Can you mute, please? Oops. Okay. So where were we? Yeah. So if the Lagna Lord is in the eighth house, he will be an accomplished scholar, sickly, thievish, be given to much anger, be a gambler, and will join others' wives. I think this is you really need to try out a lot of these things. Um, but he will be sickly, thievish. Why sickly? Because it's the eighth house. And once, remember what I told you, wherever the Lagna Lord goes, the sixth house from there and the eighth house from there are going to be very, very problematic. Eighth house from the Lagna Lord, you will absolutely ignore everything. And the sixth house from there, you will try to destroy it. Okay. So that means you're destroying your own self. If the Lagna Lord goes in the eighth house, that means your own physical felicity, your body, because Lagna is also your body and your intelligence. You yourself are your worst enemy. And that's why it's a problem. Okay. That's why the Parashara is talking about that the native will be able to, even though he'll be an accomplished scholar because he's deep in research. Eighth house is one of the great significations of the eighth houses, in-depth research and things like that. But he will be thievish and sickly because of this, because the sixth from there, from the eighth house is your own ascendant, is your own Lagna, and that's why he's going to be sickly and thievish, and given to much anger. So all of that, and of course gambling, well, it's yeah, because 10th from there is the fifth house. Fifth house, often we talk about gambling and things like that. And they will be a gambler. That means they will try taking a lot of risks. So for example, it's a fantastic placement. This placement is superb if you're, let's say, working in financial markets, okay, cryptocurrencies, all of that, where you're playing around with people's money, where you're playing around with other people's, companies and investments and investment banking and all that, where you're kind of like juggling money and there's no attachment. If you win, fantastic, so there's a sense of risk taking. That is then Lagna Lord in the eighth house. I say fabulous, go for it. Okay, so is everybody getting this, that these are very definitive placements? Okay, and you need to do more of that, but be also aware that you can be your worst enemy if the Lagna Lord goes in the eighth house. Okay, for the reasons I mentioned, that it is the Lagna becomes the sixth house, and sixth house is where you try to destroy and overcome all the problems, and you're your own worst enemy. Okay. Now, if Lagna Lord is in the ninth house, the native will be fortunate, dear to people, will be a devotee of Sri Vishnu, be skillful, eloquent in speech, be endowed with wife, sons, and wealth. Remember, we saw the chart of Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. he had Aquarius Lagna and an exalted Saturn in the ninth house. Okay, Aquarius Lagna, that is a beautiful. Of course he was a devotee of Sri Vishnu, and of course he was skillful and eloquent in speech and be endowed with wife and sons. When I say he was not, he did not, his wealth was learning and knowledge. His sons were all his devotees and all the legacy he left behind, all his disciples and all his students that he left behind. Okay, so that is what it means. So you have to kind of take it with kind of um, attribute, not take it literally, attribute certain meanings to it, and look at it in a holistic manner. Also, Prabhupada's chart we did last time, where he was, what was he, Sagittarius Lagna? Wasn't he Sagittarius Lagna? We'll come back to his chart. I think he was Sagittarius Lagna with Sun and Jupiter and Ketu in the ninth house in Leo. Okay. And so obviously he had like Hare Krishna, Hare Rama movement has like spread worldwide. And of course, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama is nothing but he's like a diehard devotee of Sri Vishnu, okay, the Mahavishnu. So, and so that all definitely, this is like Parashara is on the money when it comes to Lagna Lord in the ninth house. Okay, so then we come to the Lagna Lord in the 10th house. The native will be endowed with paternal happiness, royal honor, fame among men, will doubtlessly have self earned wealth. Okay, now uh, this is a very, very important dictum, because when Lagna Lord goes in the 10th house, this is called the Siddhi Yoga. Okay, Siddhi means you will have a core knowledge of something very specific, something very vital, something very unique, which only you will be having. Okay, so this is a very important one to watch out for. Then again, the Lagna Lord in the 11th is fantastic. Swami Vivekananda had this. He was Sagittarius Lagna and Jupiter in Libra. And 11th house is the house of the Guru, okay? The actual Guru, the physical body of the Guru. And so, and also his advice. And so you will be listening to your Guru and your advice. That's the best way of making use of the negativity of the 11th house, because remember, 11th house, as we did last time, is a fierce house. You are going to get smashed and hit in the 11th house, not an easy house. But if it goes in the 11th house, then the native will be endowed with gains, good qualities, fame, and many wives. Okay, so that's very positive. So let's see here. What do we have here? Anyone recognize this gentleman here? Hello, you can unmute yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
So anybody wants to have a go at the charts? Let's have a look. Anybody?
Yeah,
Lagna Lord
it's
in
good.
10.
One sec, one by one, guys. One by one. Okay, don't get excited. It's only a chart. Okay, go on then.
Lagna Lord in 10 in Pisces.
Yes.
And we together with Venus, Sun, Saturn.
Yes.
It's a busy, busy,
Yeah.
busy 10th house.
Absolutely. And if we go back a little bit, remember what I told you. If Lagna Lord is in the 10th house, the native will be endowed with paternal happiness, royal honor, fame among men, and will doubtlessly have self-earned wealth. Now, with Einstein, everything that he earned, he gave away. Okay, he did earn loads of money through his Nobel Prize and all his research and all of that, no doubt. Did he have a Siddhi Yoga? Of course he did. Lagna Lord in the 10th house. So what if it is debilitated? The
Yeah, exactly.
Yes,
Yeah.
it has cancellation of debility because Venus is the exaltation that
I
rules of,
see.
yeah, because remember the rules of debility. Maybe I haven't done that, but one of the key
No.
rules of debility is a cancellation of debility is one, you need an we'll come to it, but one of the things is that the exaltation, that sign where that a planet exalts in, that planet is with the debilitated planet, then the debilitation is cancelled. Plus it is in Kendra, it's an angular house, so fantastic. So this is true Siddhi yoga, guys. This is like, it can't get better than this. This is superb. Okay, now when I also notice where the there is also a parivartana. Can somebody spot the parivartana?
Jupiter, Saturn.
Yes, absolutely. Isn't that amazing? I
Mm.
mean, that is one,
Wow.
the karma
Mm.
dharmadipadi yoga.
Adipati
It's
Yoga. Yeah.
exactly, it's one of the highest yogas ever. Okay,
Mm.
the ninth house and the 10th lord, sorry, the ninth lord or and the 10th lord and Lakshmi Sthana, or all the trine houses 159, the lords of these with the Kendra lords, that is the Vishnu Sthana, is fantastic. It
May I
will,
ask
yeah, go
a,
on.
a question regarding the Karma Dharma Adipati Yoga? So is the 9 and the 10th law, do they have to be together in a Kendra or Trikona, or could they be in another house? For example, you have the Lord of the 9 and 10 in the 11.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be very nice, absolutely as nice, but this is one of the highest.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. There is a degree. It's still
Yeah.
good, but not as good as if it
Yes.
were in the first or 5
Absolute.
or in Kendra
Absolutely.
Trikona.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely. Yes.
Thank you,
And
thank you.
and same goes with if it is in the Dushtana houses,
Exactly.
or upachaya houses. Okay, it's fine, it's good, it's especially
Mm.
dushtana. It's not, it's going to bring along with it some kind of issues, some kind of a little bit of troubles and all that. But if it is in the Kendra or a Kona, my God, you are absolutely the king. And this is definitely one of the best ones, to have. This is a pure form, okay? This is, you can't get purer than this. And of course, his wealth he gave away to his wives and to a lot of people, institutions and all that. So there's a lot of things we'll see with the various other. Let's see the effect of the other Lagna Lord. So we came to the 10th, 11th. Let's move to the last one, Lagna Lord in the 12th house. Remember, I told you that if the Lagna Lord is in the 6th house or the 12th house, there is an issue. That whole axis is full of conflict, okay? And there is only one person, or sorry, not one person, there is only one sort of way out. If you do have Lagna Lord in these, you have to appease, or you have to have some kind of a sadhana or a mantra chant practice in the 12th house. If you have, then it is a rishi or a sage. And if it is a sixth house, then it has to be some kind of, it also can be a rishi or a sage, but it has to have that relevant deity needs to be appeased, because it's a very difficult placement. It's not an easy placement, Lagna Lord in the sixth or the 12th. Okay, if the Lagna
I
Lord,
have, I
yeah,
have,
in which what's your rising sign?
I'm a Scorpio and I have Ketu in the 12th. Well,
Okay,
Mars is in the 10, so he's all right.
exact.
But Ketu is in the 12, so I was,
Oh no, don't
well,
worry about that.
no, well, I experienced anyway, he played a role anyway. So I
Yes,
know I know what you meant.
yes, exactly.
So yeah,
Absolutely. Is
yeah.
Ketu aspected? Okay, here, Margarita, see this. If Lagna Lord is in the 12th and is devoid of benefic aspect or conjunction, then the native will be benefit of physical happiness, will spend unfruitfully and be given to much anger. Don't take this lightly, okay? Because
Mm,
but the Margarita, you have the added advantage of having two Lagna lords. I cannot stress enough how good that is. Having two Lagna lords means that the pressure is off from. Imagine if it was just Mars, if you're Aries Lagna and Mars in the 12 with
yeah.
no benefic aspect,
Mm,
then
mm,
it would really be a problem, yeah?
yeah.
So is yours aspected by a benefic?
No.
No, okay, but it's still okay because your other lord is
He's with
very strong.
he's with Mercury, but Mercury is with with Ketu, so Mercury is it's not.
But
Uh,
Mercury is a benefic though.
yeah, and then so I think it could help.
Yeah, exactly. It will play out in terms of health. Be
Mm.
careful of breaking of bones and falls and things like that because Ketu Mercury is famous for like suddenly you'll break your bones, you'll fall, slip, and all of
Yeah,
that. It's a problem. Yeah,
yeah. I have a joint hypermobility.
you have what? Sorry, I beg your pardon.
My joints are hypermobile, so they move too much. I'm too loose, so could be a connection.
Yeah, but the thing is that people who have Ketu with Mercury, they are phenomenally flexible.
Yeah,
They have,
exactly.
yeah,
Yeah,
they
I'm
are
very
great.
bendy.
Yeah,
Mm,
very bendy. You'll be very
yeah,
good with yoga and very good with, like dancing. The Ketu like movements is all to do
yeah.
with dancing, like phenomenal. People who like bend in like rubber bands, they
Hmm.
just stretch to, yeah, so they are, but they will also then be prone to falls and things like that
Yeah.
and breaking of bones. So you need to be a little
Mm.
bit mindful of all of
Careful.
that.
Yeah.
Absolutely careful, okay? So now
Thank you.
let's look at this chart of Queen Victoria. Okay, everybody, hello.
Yep.
Can everybody see this
Yes,
chart?
Yes.
Hmm.
yes, yes.
Yes. Sorry, I think oops, I should have put. I'm sorry. I put the picture in for the North Indian. Is everybody okay to use a South Indian in this?
Yeah, we try.
Okay, okay, go on then. So go for it. We all know Queen Victoria's chart. Oh my God, we love her. The sun, um, Taurus Lagna, yeah? Everybody?
Yes, yes, Taurus Lagna.
Now, Taurus has got two Lagna lords. One is the moon, the other one is,
Venus
yes, and Venus is in the
12.
12th. Okay. Now, bear in mind, Venus is with a benefic. It's Mercury. Okay. No doubt about that. And in spite of that, Victoria kept a notebook. Basically, Albert was her big love of her life. And when I started to read about Victoria and Albert, there was this big thing about as she became, through her successive pregnancies, she became much more sort of having temper tantrums and getting massive mood swings and things like that. And also, I think Albert took massive charge of everything because somehow he felt inferior to her. And but the main thing transpired was that this Lagna Lord in the 12th did play out. So she was given to much anger, and so much so that even he kept a diary where she kept a diary for her confessions, and he would read her confessions and issue a certificate of improvement, reviewing her behavior as he might a child. Can you imagine if you people had a boyfriend or a girlfriend who did that? Oh my god, I can't imagine. So there you go. So if you're violent, I have no other choice but to leave you and retire to my room in order to give you time to recover yourself. Then you follow me to renew dispute and have it all out. So you see, it does play out. This dictum is a very important dictum. So you have to be very careful when the Lagna Lord goes to the 12th house, okay? Because invariably it will play out, okay? Any ideas, anyone? No? Okay, let's move
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah,
Yeah, go on.
yeah. He applied. He applied
Applies.
to me as
But
well.
Margarita, you are the same as her. You've got that other Lagna Lord Mars in the 10th house in Digbal. Mars in the 10th house is fantastic, you know.
Yeah. Um,
So that's in Leo, right?
mm. And also regarding, yeah, it's in Leo,
Yeah.
Sana. Regarding Venus in, I mean, Lagna Nord is Venus in the 12th. There is also a dictum. If, no, maybe no.
No, go on.
If Venus is in the 12th, you lose your spouse. So the Karaka Venus is the Karaka, and you lose your spouse because Albert actually died quite young.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I recently saw a movie, of a young Victoria, and it tells about their love story, and it's very nice. How he also was really supportive, absolutely supportive to her. But he died at 42, and she outlived him because she died quite old.
yeah, absolutely. She did. She
So I don't
did.
know if I'm confused. I mean, if I, misunderstood that. If
Okay,
uh,
here's the thing. I agree with you that there is, but you also have to then see that we are coming to the seventh house. Her Lagna is Taurus, seventh house is Scorpio. Scorpio's got two lords, you see.
mm,
One of them is Mars, which is in the 11th house. Can
mm,
you see that in
I see.
Pisces? Yeah.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So, and the other lord is in where is it in? It's in Virgo. Okay. So you see, um, so both the lords are very fairly well placed, the seventh lords, because we will also see the what the seventh house is. But you're right, the Karaka is Venus. Like it's like the Karaka means like a significator for marriage, for love relationship, and for both the sexes, Venus has to be kind of strong. And if it is gone in the 12th house, that means the Karaka has gone in a Dushtana house. And you're right, absolutely, Margarita. Yes, indeed, that you will lose, you will have problems with that. But bear in mind, her Lagna Lord in Lagna, the moon, exalted moon in Lagna. Taurus has got the other moon,
Mm,
moon
yeah.
Trikona. It was superb because
Mm,
even though she grieved after much time, she had. There was rumors that she had, affair with what's his name, John Brown, or some one of the people who lived in their quarters, the royal quarters, and another Indian gentleman of royalty. And so nobody knows, but there is documents, historians believe that she did have an affair, and long-standing relationship. So it wasn't all that bad. So Lagna Lord in Lagna, you will have two.
right.
Remember that dictum of Parasharas right at the beginning I did? So
Mm,
both played out, you see.
mm, mm,
And
mm,
you
mm,
have
mm.
two Lagna Lords, you cannot ignore. You have to walk with both of them, okay?
Mm, 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 mm. Yeah, she was quite lustful, let's say, like
Yeah,
exalted moon. Yeah,
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 exactly.
quite.
Lusty, exactly.
Last
So,
very. Yeah.
yeah, okay. So now we come to the effects of the second house. Now, I don't want to go too much into it because we have loads to cover and all the exciting stuff of the fourth house and things like that. Let's go. You guys can read this. There's a loads and loads of things, but bear in mind that this house is also very, very important. The second house is where, it's the Hari Bhava second house. Okay, so the second lord becomes extremely important. And if you do a mantra of the second lord, I can give you, put something up in the telegram group. But each of the lords, whoever lords the second house, there is a specific deity that will really help you, with truth, with because you want to keep the second house very clean, because second house is your sustenance, in terms of not just with wealth, but in terms of everything, your food, your intake, your liquids, everything, all that is really important. So hence the importance of the second lord and the second house. So it is best to be kept very clean and tidy. So if the second lord is in the first house, that means you have the benefits of your family backing their wealth and things like that. But you will be inimical to his family. The native will be endowed with sons and wealth, be inimical to his family, lustful, hard hearted, and will do other jobs. Now, this is a bit of a stretch here, but there is a lot of blessing with the second house in first, second lord in first, okay? Second lord in second, the native will be wealthy, proud, will have two or more wives, and be benefit of progeny, okay? Now, like I said, you can read about them, feel free. But in my view, one of the worst placements is when the second lord goes in the sixth house, except if it is with a benefic, then the native will gain wealth through his enemies. But if the second lord is conjoined a malefic, then they will be lost through enemies apart from mutilation of shanks. Ouch, you need to just watch out, do test this out, because this is not a very nice placement. But if it is with a benefic or a drishti of benefic, then it really helps. Okay, so again, let's whiz through because there is so much of it. But there is one particular thing I want you guys to focus on, is this particular yoga called the Parijata Yoga, which is a wish fulfilling tree. So when the fourth lord, second lord, and 11th lord go into some kind of a yoga, or they are in each other's houses, or they are in a sort of like a strong aspect, then it is absolutely superb. So whatever you do really desire or wish for it will come to pass. It's called the Parijata Yoga. Okay. So the second lord is in 11th, and the native will have all kinds of wealth, ever diligent, honorable, and famous. So this is a beautiful one. Okay. Now, again, the third Lord, I would like you to read and please come up with some examples of each. But here, the third Lord in the fifth, the native will have sons and be virtuous. If in the process the third Lord be conjoined with or receives an aspect from a malefic, the native will have formidable wife. Wow. Anyone's got that? This is a really interesting dictum, okay? Um, Now, why would it be formidable? Because you see, the fifth house is Bhavad Bhavam principle you have to apply. And what I mean by Bhavad Bhavam is the third house from the Lagna, the third house, if you take, okay, from the third house, If you go further third house, you reach the fifth house. So that is called Bhavad Bhavam. That means fifth house is also associated with love relationships, where we feel passionate, where we want to throw caution to the wind, and it's in our consciousness, it's in our chitta. So, whatever is in the third or the third lord will have a say in the fifth house. Okay. So, these two are very intrinsically interlinked. And if the third lord then goes into the fifth house, then it is actually very good. That means, provided it is with benefics. But if it is with like a malefic, or aspect of a malefic, then the native will have formidable wife. That means why would that be? Can somebody answer that? Take a guess. Just follow some logical steps here.
Yes, be regarding some houses number. So let me see, from anything to do with the seventh house.
Yes,
You know,
absolutely.
seventh
Yeah,
house. No, I don't know if there is the third and the seventh, because the third is also the house of courage.
exact. Very good. Now, there's also what you said. If I take the principle further of the 11th house, now 11th house is not just about gains. 11th house is also where we are beaten, where we are smashed because of our karmas, because of our problems that we did in past lifetime. Okay. Remember what we did last time with 11th house? Tano Tana Danda Hara. That means you will be lost. Hara means you will be completely at the mercy. You'll have to surrender. That's the signification of the 11th house. So wherever, so for example, the 11th house from the 7th house is nothing but the fifth. So if you have this kind of third influence, third lord coming in the fifth, that means you have this absolute, you're going to get smashed by this person. You're going to be like, the native will have a wife or a husband or a boyfriend who'll be like kind of like a kingpin. He'll be very forceful, he'll be very courageous, he'll be very controlling. Yeah. Everybody okay with that? Is everybody
Yes.
understanding
Yeah,
this?
yeah, yeah.
Because it is the 11th house. Think about it this way, it's the 11th house from the 7th. So it's where what we will be beaten, we will be hit. And what will we be hit with? Someone from the third house, the third lord. It's landing up there. Third house, the third lord is how we fight. What is our courage? What things we adopt to be courageous, how we fight.
Mm.
So that's why it's so this that's why the native will have a formidable wife. A very interesting dictum. Okay.
Mm.
Now, again, let's go a little bit, a few interesting ones we can pick out. If the third lord is in the 9, the native will lack parental bliss, will make fortunes through wife. Why will he make fortunes through wife? And will enjoy progenic and other pleasures. Anyone, guys, why will they make fortunes through the wife? Is it because it's the 7th house from the
Mm.
third? The 9th house is the 7th from the third, and the 9th house
Yeah,
is the Bhagyasthana, or your
yeah,
fortune, the house of fortune. Is everybody
yeah.
getting it, or am I just
Mm.
confused everyone?
Yes, yes. No, no, no,
Yeah.
no.
Okay, because this is I mean, you can't do Jyotish if you have to get little bit of this Bhavat Bhavam principle. And I'm trying to, rather than mug it up, go in a like a logical fashion. Why is Parashara saying that? Because all this will come to pass as we see many examples. Okay. Now, effects of the fourth lord. If the fourth lord is in the first house, he has the blessings of the mother. Okay, because the fourth house is also the house of property, reality, and all of that. So then he'll have a lot of support, conveyances, lands, ornaments, virtues, because it's the Karaka is the moon, you see. So there will be a lot of blessings from the mother and that kind of a thing. um, then the fourth lord in the second, the native will enjoy pleasures of all kinds, wealth, family life, honor, adventurous, be cunning in disposition. Cunning in disposition, right? If the fourth is in the third, the native will be valorous again, will have servants, be liberal, virtuous, um, charitable, possess self earned wealth, will be free from diseases. And the fourth is in the fourth, the native will be minister and be possess all kinds of wealth, skillful, virtuous, learned, happy, and disposed to this. So these are all very nice placements, but one of the best placements is the fourth lord is in the fifth house. Because remember what I said about the ninth, the Lagna Lord in the ninth, or the ninth in the 10th. Remember, it's like Vishnu and Lakshmi coming together. So the fourth lord in the fifth, the native will be happy and be liked by all. He will be devoted to Sri Vishnu, be virtuous, honorable, and will have self earned wealth. This is one of the highest yogas you can have. If you have this, then all you have to do is focus on the mantra of that fourth lord in the fifth house, and all your fortunes will open up with this, because you have the support of Vishnu. Absolutely, you have an absolute blessing of Vishnu. Okay, so please bear that in mind. This is very, very important. Yeah. Then, if the fourth is in the sixth, the native will be devoid of maternal happiness, given to anger, be a thief or a conjurer, be independent in action, and be indisposed. Now, there's also another variance to it, that if the fourth is in the sixth, in past lifetime you have done many, many mantras, many penances, many siddhis you have done. So with little bit of sadhana or a little bit of mantra chanting or practice, this will give very good results actually, especially if the fourth lord is a benefic in the sixth house. So it's not all this bad. Okay, the fourth lord in the sixth, of course it will, and they will lose property at least once in their lifetime. Absolutely 100%. Okay, so please bear that in mind. Then we come to the fourth and the seventh. Native will be endowed with high degree of education, sacrifices patrimony, and akin to the dumb in an assembly. So it's it's the fourth lord in the seventh. It's an okay placement. It's not so bad. um but we will have to test it out. Then the fourth in the eighth, the native will be devoid of domestic and other comforts, will not enjoy much paternal happiness, and will be equal to a neuter. We are going to see examples of this. Okay, here, does anybody know this guy, Marvin Gaye?
Yeah.
Anyone? Guys,
Mm-hmm.
have you? I found his music, Ain't No
Yeah.
Mountain High Enough. If anybody knows
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
Oops.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Yes.
it's
Yes. It's
absolutely super.
beautiful.
Yeah, I know. What a beautiful music. My God.
Mm.
And that's his father, by the way, who
Mm.
shot him. So he died at the hands of his father.
Father.
I
Mm.
know. And look, can somebody look at his chart and tell me what's going on here?
What is the well? Rahu in the fourth.
Yes,
Is,
that's a
is
problem to begin
mm,
with.
yeah, and I don't know where is the Lagna Lord.
Lagna Lord
So
is in
I
the
see what is there for what is the moon. Lagna Lord is, well, he made a lot of money actually with his
Lagna
music,
Lord
and
in second.
is in the second.
Yeah, Lagna Lord is in this. Oops, sorry. Lagna Lord is in the second. We remember I said
Nice
it's a
voice also. Yeah, he got a lovely voice.
absolutely, and
Singing, yeah.
yeah,
Mm-mm.
absolutely. A beautiful, oops, beautiful voice, absolutely fantastic. And look at this. Where's the fourth Lord? Where's the fourth Lord here?
In the eighth.
Yes, absolutely. And remember this dictum: the devoid of domestic and other comforts will not enjoy much parental happiness and be equal to a neuter, which is really sad because he came back to, after his broken marriage, and he came back to live with his father. And he had, of course, he was on drugs, and he, very talented musician, absolutely phenomenal. And his father was a minister, I think, sorry, his father was a Christian priest, and he could not hack his son's debility in terms of, like, depression and his bohemian ways. And but he was a musician, and of course his drug problems and all of that. So he just shot him. It's, maybe it was an
Very,
accident, I don't know, it was, but it's really sad. But you see, so this did come to pass, that the native will be devoid of domestic and other comforts and will not enjoy much parental happiness. You see, so that is a big thing about that. Yeah, the fourth lord in the eighth. Yeah. Okay, then we come fourth lord in 11th, again fear of secret diseases. I think you guys need to read that. And we time, we have a few minutes. Shall we continue? We can wrap this up today. Okay.
mm-hmm.
Effects of fifth lord in various houses. If the fifth lord is in Lagna, the native will be scholarly. The fifth lord is very important. It's going to save you from a lot of trouble. If you have negative yogas and going on in any house, if the fifth lord, you can make it strong, there's nothing like it. Now, this is a very interesting dictum. If the fifth lord is in Lagna, the native will be scholarly indeed, because the fifth house is the house of knowledge as well. Be endowed with progenic happiness, of course.
Mm-hmm.
The miser. Why would he be a miser?
Yeah, exactly.
Be crooked and will steal others' wealth. Okay,
Mm.
why would that be? Now, this is a really interesting one, because you see, the fifth lord is a trine house, which is very
Mm.
auspicious.
Mm.
And Lagna is your intelligence, is your Dhi Shakti.
Mm.
And and if the fifth lord is in Lagna, that's a Kendra, that's a cardinal house, that's
Mm.
very positive. But why is then Parashara saying he will be a miser, be crooked, and steal others' wealth? Okay, that's your homework, guys.
Yes.
I need you to go find. I need you to find a chart where this exists. Fifth lord
Uh,
in Lagna. Okay,
Fifth love in Lagna. All right. I mean,
and
it's got something to do with Baba Vavan, for
yes, of
sure,
course,
because it's
absolutely.
always, but I don't know which number. No, I don't know if there is a, yeah, something, is a doubt that I always had regarding this Baba Bhavan concept, because it's quite easy to understand when you track it down, when you refer
Yeah.
it. But then how to apply, for example, it could be the 6 from the 7, or could be the 8 from the, another number that has a logic. How do you apply that particular ratio?
Well, see, wherever the Lagna, if you treat the fifth lord as a proper Lagna by itself, okay, which is what
Mm,
we are encouraged to do.
You
That means,
count. You count from there. Okay.
yeah. So that means it's gone in the Lagna. That means from the Lagna, you see the sixth where it will destroy and the eighth, okay? Which is nothing but the sixth house and the eighth house. So that means all the problems are coming from there, you know? And why wealth? Why would you want to steal wealth? Is the question. And we want examples, right?
Mm. Mm.
Okay, this is going to
All
be a
right.
difficult homework. Okay, so we will
Yeah.
be doing this homework. I would
Okay.
love. Okay, I will help you out because now even I'm interested in finding out this. Okay,
All right. Good.
yeah. Then if fifth lord is in the second, that's a beautiful placement. Many familiars attached to spouse, famous in the world. Fifth lord in third, absolutely a tail bearer though. That's a bit of a problem. A miser and always interested in his own work. See, what is interesting is that the third lord in the fifth is a super placement, but the fifth lord in the third is not a very nice placement. Be a talebearer and a miser and always interested in his own work. You see that? Again, we come to the Bhavat Bhavam because it is
Mm.
the third house is the 11th from the fifth.
Yeah,
So
11. Yeah,
it's
exactly.
it's where you're going to get beaten up, properly
Mm.
smashed, you know. So that's why this is a problem. Then if the fifth lord is in the fourth, the native is happy, endowed with maternal happiness, wealth, minister or preceptor. Again,
The
anything.
same. Mm.
Yes, absolutely. Sri Vishnu Yoga.
Mm.
Fourth and fifth, any association, you have blessings of Vishnu. Okay? Just take that for granted. Then fifth lord in fifth, native will have progeny related to a benefic. There will be no issues. If malefic related to fifth, placed in fifth, will, however, make one virtuous and dear to friends. Let's see this John F. Kennedy's chart, okay? Can everybody see this?
Mm-hmm.
We know about John, everybody knows about John F. Kennedy, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, where's
Yes.
his fifth house?
Fifth house is in the fifth lord. What is in the
Cancer.
sixth?
So Cancer. So Moon is in yes six. Fifth.
Yeah.
Six. Yeah.
Mm.
And his Lagna Lord is in the third,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Pisces in the third, yes. And where's the third Lord then? Third Lord in the third,
Yes.
Mm-mm.
huh? So now see this. If the fifth lord is in the sixth, the native will obtain such sons who will be equal to his enemies. Oh my God. Or lose them. Or will acquire an adopted or purchased son. This is the interpretations. But obviously it's adopted. But look what happened to John F. Kennedy. He nicknamed, he had did he have two sons? John Fitzgerald Kennedy Jr., nicknamed John John by the press, was born in late November 60. 17 days after his father was elected, John John, a graduate of Brown University, died in 1999 when a small plane he was piloting crashed en route to Martha's Vineyard. And then again in 63, month before JFK assassination, Jackie gave birth to a son, Patrick. However, he died after 2 days due to complications at birth. So do you see that how this is played out? You know? So both the sons gone. That's really sad, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So you see, this is not a very happy placement. If the fifth lord is in the sixth, even though there are some, there's a specific yoga as we go in advanced in the yogas, but this is not a very happy placement. Anyway, guys, I think we may need to stop now. We still have a few more to do, but we will stop for today. I will put this up and then you can go through them, okay? Lovely. So thank you very much. Any questions?
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yep.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Oh,
Thank you,
by the
Sarah.
way,
Thank
yeah, oh, by the way, you guys are aware.